Hi, folks. I'm Father Joe Grimaldi. You can call me Joe, and I'd like to welcome you to my podcast. But now, here's our host and friend, Ken Calvert.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ken Calvert along with Father Joe Grimaldi, and welcome to the Father Joe podcast. And we were both saying we're hungry and talking about food. Have you had any good Italian food lately?
Italian?
Well,
what kind is Italian?
You know, I got to tell you something. Does that drive you crazy when people do that?
It does, but that's okay.
Okay. Have you had a good Italian meal lately?
Well, only when I cook it myself.
That's what I was hoping you would say. When was the last time you made yourself a big Italian meal?
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah?
It's been a while.
How long would it take you?
I get lazy as I grow older.
Well, we all do.
Yeah.
We all do.
You know, I think that kind of a meal that you're talking about, it takes a while, but it's a fun time because you have people over, you're having a little bit of vino, and you're enjoying each other's company while you add a little bit more garlic and maybe some basil leaves. And then you make sure that the sauce is not too watery and not too thick, but just right. You know what I mean?
I do.
And it has to be absorbed by whatever pasta you're using. So it's nice because it involves a group of people, not just by yourself.
Do you have a recipe, the Father Joe Grimaldi recipe?
Well, I just make it up as I go along.
You don't put it in a little tin box and
No,
refer
I
to it at
don't,
all?
I'm
No
afraid
kidding.
not, no.
See, if you did that, we could put it on the website, or we could put it on Twitter, Facebook, and people would go crazy.
Yeah, I don't think there's any religious affiliation with any of this, but that's okay.
If they push back on that, then we have real problems in the Catholic Church.
I think so.
So you get together. The idea I would gather behind having a great Italian meal is to gather with a lot of friends, have some fun, and then let's eat.
That's it. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and they could be part of the preparation.
What is it about you Italians that you like to eat so much, though?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because everything that you put in the meal is basically pretty heavy, isn't it?
Well, it depends on what
It's based on pasta products.
Well, pasta's not bad for you as long as you don't overdo it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Okay. You know, we're supposed to be doing a podcast, and I think we are.
You can't stop over the third piece of lasagna. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a fourth, and, well, okay, enough of that.
Oh, see, you're making me hungry now.
That's good.
Because I love really good lasagna.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah. You'll have to make it for me sometime.
I'd be happy to.
Well, I look forward to it then,
All right, good.
I'm going to hold you to that.
You can.
We had a situation on our hands with an email where a young female asked her parish priest to marry her. He agreed, and she said, I would like you to marry me at this facility that was an outdoor garden off-site from the Catholic Church. He responded that he would love to marry the couple, but he can't. It has to be done in a church. Locally here, for example, in our area, southeast Lower Michigan, we have a beautiful campus at Cranbrook. It's the Art Institute. They have the Cranbrook Gardens. We have the beautiful island, Belle Isle, the conservatory there.
Of course.
Even the Detroit Zoo. So many possibilities. Off-site. Why does it have to be on-site in a Catholic church?
Well, there's reasons for it. I will try to give it my best in explaining it. The church considers marriage a very important part of people's lives. So important that it's considered sacred. And so the marriage between two Christians is considered a sacrament. Two Christians, Catholic, and then any other Christian as well. But two Catholics, let's say, when they get married, the church says they should be married in a sacred place, and the sacred place would be a church. Usually it's in his or her church, wherever either one belongs. When someone who is Catholic marries someone who is a non-Catholic Christian, they could be married in a sacred place, and it doesn't have to be the Catholic Church, but it could be the Protestant Church where the individual's denomination is practiced. Then when someone who is a Catholic decides he or she would like to marry someone who is non-Christian. And this is where we get problems, and I'll tell you why. Because they can be married anywhere. They can be married in a garden and so on and so forth. And that's basically trying to bend the rules a little for the non-Christian, I should say, individual. Non-Christian being either Jewish or Buddhist or whatever the case might be. First of all, it should always, as much as possible, be in a sacred place to reflect the importance and the sacredness of the institution of marriage.
You performing the marriage in a Protestant church, that's one thing. If you perform a marriage in a Catholic church with one being Catholic, the other being a Christian but non-Catholic, there's no Eucharist involved, correct?
Well, marriage is supposed to mean that there's unity. Once you bring the Eucharist into it, the symbolism is lost very often, because at communion time, half the church is receiving communion, the other half is not.
Yeah.
We recommend no Mass when there is a marriage between a Catholic and a non-Catholic Christian.
All right.
In the church.
Getting back to, if you don't mind,
No.
the off-site marriage.
Yeah.
What, and this is a hypothetical, what if Belle Isle, Cranbrook, or whatever the site may be that the couple picks has a chapel designated as a Christian chapel? Could you do it then, there?
Well, it's not...
I'm not trying to stretch any rules, I'm just asking.
No, I mean, when we say can't and can, I think we're becoming very dogmatic about it. Obviously, the Marriage Act itself is enough. And so, technically, the Marriage Act could take place between the two people and either a priest, a deacon, or a bishop, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, ordinarily, two Catholics are married in a Catholic church, and as I mentioned before, a Catholic and a non-Catholic Christian in a Protestant or a Catholic church, and then a Catholic and a non-Christian. It can be anywhere, in a hall, it could be whatever the case might be.
Two Catholics are trying to put together a perfect situation for them, their marriage. They want to do it in a beautiful garden off-site, and unfortunately, we can't. What if they walk away? What if they walk away and say, well, then we're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it another way. And I'm going to bring that up in a moment. But what do you say?
You say, I'm very sorry.
Okay.
I wish I could help you out, but I can't.
Okay.
And usually the people will understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened before.
It has.
Yeah.
You've had people walk away from you.
Well, walk away.
I don't mean to say walk away.
I know, but
to
do
say,
something different.
Do something different and
Yeah.
say, thank you so much for considering it, but
We can't.
we're going to continue to do what we wanted to do.
Of course.
All right. Okay, so here's part 2 of the podcast. There's a trend out there. How do you feel about this this practice of a person getting ordained online and then legally marrying someone? How wide of a divide do you think that that's created for the Catholic Church, or hasn't it? First of all, your thoughts on online ordination.
Well, that would be a no-no completely for the Catholic Church, because ordination involves a lot of preparation. I mean, it's very intense courses that people are taking to prepare themselves for the ordination. Training as well as academic. So it's going online for 2 seconds to put in your name and zip code or whatever the case might be. It just doesn't cut it for the Catholic Church. That's not the way to get ordained. Obviously, it wouldn't be permitted in the Catholic Church at all. But it is permitted for the purpose of doing some civil things like marrying others or performing the ceremony. Technically, a marriage is between a man and a woman. It's not the priest who is marrying them. They marry each other because they are making the promises to each other. The priest is the official witness for the Catholic Church That's the way the church looks at it. Okay, to get back to the other thing, I don't see that as too much more different than the clerk in the office, town, city hall, or whatever the case might be, courthouse, performing the marriage. It's the same thing, in my mind, as somebody going online. I know that some very respectable people are doing it for relatives, and they are Catholic,
right?
But they're doing it.
I've attended a few of those,
and I think that's fine.
Stop. You think that's fine?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's not considered a Catholic marriage.
Right.
I don't see something.
In your heart of hearts, in your Catholic heart, does that disturb you a little bit?
It does, because it's not treating marriage with the heavy weight that it is. Huh? Mm-hmm. Marriage is a very important thing. It's not to be treated lightly.
I don't think people are thinking that they're treating it lightly.
Well, I don't think they know they are. For example,
they're adults.
However,
they're highly intelligent young people.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. But by the same token, emotions get in the way. For example, so many young couples who are adults and who are intelligent, but by the same token, they're caught up in the beauty of this particular site. They're caught up in the colors that are going to be used for the wedding party. They're caught up with the reception on where's it going to be. And all of this forms this package that they want to carry through without thinking as much as they can. Now, I'm not saying this is for every case, but very often they're not thinking about the heavy weight that marriage itself is. They're thinking just about the wedding.
But they want it to be a really beautiful, special day.
An emotional wedding.
And they're inviting you, Father Joe Grimaldi, to be a major part in it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. They do want this to be special. They want it to be nice. But by the same token, it should be done in a sacred place that...
I'm not going to argue with you.
No, I realize that they're religious,
you.
that their religion, whether it be Catholic or Protestant, so on and so forth, that their religion accepts, basically.
Have you been on the altar of a Presbyterian church, a Lutheran church? Have you celebrated a marriage in another Christian venue?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I have a wedding coming up now that is going to involve a Protestant minister who was a woman. And she's going to be with me at the church where I preside. And so that this woman, who is a minister, she is the pastor of her church, a Lutheran church. And so she and I will perform the marriage itself.
Have you done that before?
No.
How do you feel about it?
I feel great.
Have you met her?
No, I haven't, because...
I bet you look forward to it, though.
I do, because she lives in Illinois, I know for sure. It might be west of Chicago.
So let me see if I have this straight. You'll be on the altar in the Catholic Church.
Correct.
Con-celebrating, is that how you say it? Or co-celebrating? Or
yeah, con-celebrating if you want.
Con-celebrating, okay. And the two of you will get together and discuss this, and you have no qualms with that whatsoever?
No, I don't. I mean, there was a time when that was considered...
I bet there was a time.
A lot of tension and things of this sort. But now, today, it's a thing of, when you speak about the different religions, I just can't help but say, we are all believers in what we've been taught, and that's great. To think that the Episcopals, who are sincere in following their religion carefully and faithfully, of course, if they do what the Lord wants them to do, they'll be in heaven like anybody else. The Presbyterians, the same way.
But wait. Because on the following podcast, I want to talk to you about that very topic, okay?
Okay.
And I think that's important. I think it's significant that you brought that up, so I'm glad you did.
Okay.
But getting back to the fact that you're con-celebrating with a Lutheran minister, pastor, female, on an altar in a Catholic church, she has no problem traveling. What will her part of the service be?
We haven't discussed it yet. She'll probably, for example... when I receive the vows, since it is, okay, one of the things we have to,
I always make you reset, don't I?
well, it's a Catholic wedding. The priest or the deacon or the bishop will receive the vows, but she will also acknowledge the reception of the vows. In other words, she'll be with the minister, with the priest or the bishop or whatever, and she'll be there maybe saying some nice words before or afterwards, and maybe doing some preaching also, since it's not going to be a mass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the reason why it's not going to be a mass, I mean, when you have two religions involved, and the whole symbol of marriage is unity, you want to keep everything unified. To have a mass where communion is distributed and half the congregation does not receive communion goes against the symbol of unity. So it's easier to do something that's a service without the Mass. Now, without the Mass means that there's no consecration, no communion. However, you still have the readings, you still have the homily, you still have the prayers. So it's not as if it's completely, how should I put it, stripped of all of those good things to go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, years ago, to think that there would be a minister who's not Catholic alongside the Catholic priest was difficult to accept.
Oh, it was radical.
And then today to think that there is a woman, not only a minister, but it's a woman. Again.
Blasphemy.
Yes.
Blasphemy, my friend.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
However, the church has now, as you probably have noticed in the news, I love Francis's idea of, you know, we can't judge. Let's wait and see what happens. It's interesting that at the present time, women, priests, and the Catholic Church are not allowed. However, who knows what the future might hold?
Your famous tagline to me once was, will there ever be, I said to you, I asked you, will married men ever be allowed to be priests? And you said, yes, but not in my lifetime.
Correct.
You then will forecast this, that not in your lifetime, but women will be ordained priests.
I have a feeling that, yes, eventually, but it's going to take a long time. It's not going to happen overnight. Right now, the Vatican is certainly not open to even thinking about it, but there will come a time when they will be thinking about it, particularly since our closest groups, for example, the Episcopals.
Right.
I mean,
they certainly are.
They certainly have bishops who are women and so on. And the thing is this, that they're very close to us as far as liturgy is concerned, as far as religion is concerned.
Well, like I told you, we're going to talk about that
on
another podcast. I'd like to put a bow on this topic.
Well, I think what we want to say is this, that first of all, according to church rules, and we do follow the church rules, there are three ways that a Catholic priest can preside at a wedding. First of all, two Catholics in a Catholic church, a Catholic and a Protestant in the Catholic Church or the Protestant Church, or a Catholic and a non-Christian pretty much anywhere. Now, does the bishop have the power to preside somewhere else at a different time, regardless of all these other rules? See, ideally, you want the sacred sacrament of marriage to take place in a sacred place. Now, can the bishop change that? Yes. Is he going to? I doubt it. Okay, so because we do have rules to go by, guidelines to go by, those are what we follow at the present time.
Well, you've given me a lot to think about here today. I'm going to have to listen to this one a couple of times myself, even though I was your co-host. You do a brilliant job, so thank you. And do you have any final thoughts? Anything else?
Yeah, my thoughts are that our wishes, our good wishes, go with those couples. And that hopefully they will fulfill the obligations of husband and wife beautifully. And so our good wishes go with them, and we wish them the best.
I look forward to seeing you on the next Father Joe podcast. I'm Ken Calvert, Father Joe podcast. See you next time.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks. This is Father Joe Grimaldi, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Father Joe Podcast.
If you'd like, you can email us. It's frjoepodcast@gmail.com. That's frjoepodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook. Simply search Father Joe Grimaldi. And thanks for listening, everyone.